Alrighty guys, this is going to be the video recording for traits and reproduction 1.4. And so in this one, we are really focusing on proteins and how those different proteins make up the different traits. So obviously we know we have our features, hair color, hair texture, eye color, and all of that, but the proteins will connect and come together and be structured differently depending on what trait they are making up. So obviously the brown-eyed people have proteins that are structured differently than the blue-eyed people, and so on. And so we're going to use the simulation today to kind of get some examples of that. And so the assignment for today, you can open it up. I'll move me over here. And you can see that the first thing that you have, and I kind of added some stuff in here, so I'll add this in with you all to show you what I was doing. So the simulation is hyperlinked right here, so you can click on this and open up the simulation from here. And we are going to observe some features and traits in the simulation today and really kind of hone in on the protein structure. And so I'm actually going to show you a video here first from, my slides are all. And before I show you this video, you will remember from last week, you had a Edpuzzle video, and in that Edpuzzle video, you were looking at the different protein makeups, and this was a, these are connects, and usually if we were in person, we would put them together to model different proteins, and you can see how each protein has a different makeup, and so like this would represent each one. So this would be like blue eyes, brown eyes, green eyes. Just kind of throwing out examples. It's not obviously modeling that, but each different protein would make up a different trait. And so like I said, we're going to use the sim to really dive into this. And so here is a video clip. Hopefully, I'm going to turn my sound way up, so hopefully it picks up the sound.
Let's review how to use the Traits and Reproduction sim to compare protein molecules of two spiders with different traits. Press on the spider to view its cells. Let's choose the spider named Zora. Select a feature from the menu bar at the top of the screen. Look at the spider's name. You'll see the trait and selected feature. Here it says again. Let's look inside one of Zora's results using cells to learn the protein. Zora has protein 1 on the first feature. These molecules are the protein connected together. Protein molecules only in the cell. Now let's review Zora's first trait. Next first trait is none. This means that guy has no presence. Let's look at the proteins in his present-producing cells. Inside the cell, Greg has protein 2 for the present feature. Then many protein molecules with this shape line itself. These proteins not connected to the network molecules.
Alrighty. So going through, we're going to do the first one. And so the idea is you're going to find 3 spiders with 3 different traits. So for silk flexibility, there is high, medium, and low. And so you want to go into your sim. Remember, it's hyperlinked. And you're going to pick silk flexibility up here, and you're going to find one of each. So I'm going to pick Zora. And Zora has the trait for high. So I would go into my document and I would say spider's name is Zora. And she has high flexibility. Oops, if I could spell. And then I'm going to look into her structures here, and I'm going to see that she has a combination going on. I see there's some protein 2, And there's also protein 3. And so I'm going to go here and I'm going to say mixture of protein 2 and 3. And so then you'll go through and do that. So I'm going to want to make sure that I go back and I pick a medium and a low. So you want to have one spider for each of those 3 traits. So then once you go through those, there's going to be a question down here. And so I really want you to look at how the differences in the proteins, how they're structured, how they have different types in their structure, what is happening to lead to those different traits. And obviously your observations are really key to figure that out. And then there is a second one down here. This time, I'm going to have you pick a feature of your choice, and then you're going to find 3 spiders that have different traits for that feature. So what that means is you have a bunch of options up here. You could do silk stickiness, venom, all of these different things. So if I was going to do size, you can see that I have small, medium, and large. So if I click on my small spider, and you're also going to notice that each feature has different like shaped proteins. And so we have these ones, and you can see there's some connecting going on. If I were to do body color, and it's colorless, and you can see there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. We have these purpley dark proteins already in here, and then these other ones floating around. And you can kind of observe what's happening here. For bristle, same thing. These are moving, and you can see that these connect into those proteins. And so each feature has a whole lot of different stuff going on. And so obviously don't do what I'm doing and look at every single one because that's going to confuse you. I'm just showing you that you need to pick one and then decide. So for venom and stuns, and I can see that she's got all protein 2s in there. And then I could go back and see, okay, I have Zora who has no venom, and she's got protein 3 in there. And so you kind of just make those observations and put them in your chart. And then the same thing as before, I want you to observe now that you did a different feature, how do those differences in proteins affect the traits? And so we're kind of getting that information. There is a modeling activity in Canvas, and the reason it's kind of separate is because it is a slide, and it's not the best, but we're trying to work with what we got here. And so you can see that it is hyperlinked right here for you. And when you open it up, this is what you see. And so here is all of this, and you are going to put these different proteins into your 2 spiders. And so obviously high flexibility and low flexibility, you looked at this and you can go back and use your simulation to look at it a little bit more if you want to look at your flexibility. And so my high flexibility, I had protein 2 and 3. And so I would go here and add in my 2 and then this one. This one is the one that is glitching, but these you guys can move and put where they need to go. It's this one that's being weird. And so you want to move the proteins into the bubbles to help model what each spider has as far as their protein molecules. And then over here, you're going to highlight the statement that you agree with based on what you just did. Then you're going to come back to the assignment, and there's kind of a little application at the bottom. So we kind of been focusing on these different makeups. And so I want you to look at this picture of these 2 sisters and kind of compare them. And so there's 2 questions down here. So identify a feature that they have that has different traits. That would be, is their hair texture different? Is their eye color different? And then you're going to describe what you observe, and then explain to me why these sisters have different traits. What is happening for them to have different traits? And I want you to use these words. We have protein molecule, structure, variation, and trait. At this point, you should know what those mean. And if you don't, you have the definitions in your notebook and you can use that to kind of refresh your memory, but you should have a good idea at this point what those mean and be able to explain to me why sisters and siblings and parents and close family members can have different traits. And so that is it for lesson 4 of chapter 1. But make sure that you're filling in your notebook. Remember, at the end of every home page down here at the bottom, I put in these notebook pages so you can keep up with your notebook. And these are important. Obviously, they're important ideas for a reason, and it's important to keep up with them because it helps kind of summarize the lesson for you guys, and it's meant to kind of make your lives a little bit easier. Okay? So that's that for this lesson.